Since Google launched AI overviews, the average website has lost around a third of their organic traffic. Well, last week, the UK regulator stepped in with a world-first legal order. And within hours, Google announced changes to AI overviews that would give more links to websites and give website owners more data about what was happening. So the question every marketing director in the world is asking right now is, does this mean that my organic traffic is going to come back? I'll give you the honest answer now. Nobody knows. But if I had to guess, probably not. But actually, this isn't all bad news, and I'll explain an example of one client who's just had their best revenue month ever from Google traffic, even while their competitors are seeing a steady decline. And some of the stuff that's been announced by Google and the Competition and Markets Authority is really useful and potentially game-changing. So let's see exactly what's going on. Now, the reason that many publishers, and when people say publishers, just think website owners, so you can be a publisher if you're a business. But the reason that many publishers are a bit upset about Google AI overviews is because they are kind of decimating organic traffic. In fact, more than 2/3 of Google searches now result in 0 clicks, meaning someone goes into Google, types a query, and 2/3 of the time they don't click on a website. Now, that's quite upsetting if you happen to be the owner of the website, particularly if your information is being shared in Google search results, because you don't get a chance to make money from that visitor. Now, to make matters worse, it's smaller publishers that are being hit hardest, and most businesses fall into the small publisher category because that's businesses that typically have fewer than 10,000 daily page views. They're the ones that are being hit hardest, losing around 60% of their traffic from web search. Medium-sized publishers aren't faring much better, they've lost around 47%, and large publishers are losing around 22%. So everybody's a loser, but it's the smaller websites that are being hit hardest. There's been some really well-publicized examples like HubSpot, where their organic traffic has gone from a high of 24 million a month to fewer than 4 million a month. Absolutely brutal, and that timeline coincides with Google rolling more AI into its search results. Now, to make matters even worse, Google's search queries are up at all-time highs, and their revenue from search is up at all-time highs as well. So there are more people searching on Google. Google is making more money, but it's capturing all of that value, and it's not only keeping clicks away from websites, it's not even sharing data with the websites about how they are being seen in AI search. So basically, if you're seeing drops in organic traffic and you're annoyed about it, you are not alone. But regulators are taking notice, and the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, or CMA, designated Google as having strategic market status. This was way back in 2025. This basically means that Google has a monopoly on UK search, being over 90% of UK search market, and therefore the CMA can hold Google to a higher standard and force it to take actions which open up competition more. But this isn't just happening in the UK. In December 2025, the European Commission opened its own set of enforcements. So what's Google doing about this? Well, this started in May 2026 when Google decided to roll out some changes to search in response to all of this pressure from the regulators. As always, Google frames all of this as, hey, we're just helping our users explore the web better. And they then dress up the fixes as having some benefit to users. For example, if you've got subscriptions to certain news websites, you can let Google know, and you'll then see those subscriptions more in AI overviews. Google is also adding more links in the content in these AI overviews. So it's given this as an example where it's showing a link right up the top here. And by the way, if you think this looks kind of familiar, this is actually exactly how Google AI overviews used to work before they took away the links. And because Google has themselves said, well, people don't really click the links because they don't know where they're going to lead, it's also going to give you this kind of inline preview of what the links look like when you hover over them. So Google is trying to show that it's doing a little bit more to help send traffic to websites. This is important because later in May, Google announced that AI mode, which is like AI overviews on steroids, has surpassed 1 billion monthly users, with queries more than doubling every quarter since it launched. And the regulators have looked at this and said, okay, you're sort of trying, but not hard enough. So then on the 3rd of June, remember that date, the Competition and Markets Authority announced this. They are requiring Google to give publishers a fairer deal. And remember, publishers is just anybody who owns a website. Now, there's some stuff in here that you would not want to do, like you can ask Google not to allow your content to be used in AI overviews. You wouldn't want to do that if you want to sell stuff via Google. But Google is also required to properly attribute publisher content using clear links in AI generated results, which means more links in AI overviews. Also, on the 3rd of June, the Competition and Markets Authority released this conduct requirement, which is basically a set of rules that Google has to adhere to, which includes providing publishers with clear and detailed metrics on user engagement with their search content in generative AI features. In other words, it's no longer enough for Google to just say, yeah, we're going to show you clicks from traditional Google search, but we're not going to split out what's going on with the AI overviews and the regular 10 blue links. Now, Google has to give website owners information about how their content is seen and potentially clicked from the AI results. By the way, if you want help improving your brand's visibility in AI search as well as traditional search, you can request a free digital marketing review from the team at Exposure Ninja. We'll ask you a few questions about your business and your marketing goals. We'll then go and do some research. We'll have a look at how your business is showing up in traditional search and AI search, and we'll build you a roadmap to help you improve your visibility and turn more of your traffic into leads and sales. We'll then arrange a meeting with you and your team to show you this plan and answer any questions that you've got about it. This service is completely free, but obviously it takes a huge amount of time, so not everybody is eligible. But to apply for it, go to exposureninja.com/review. So, little test. Did you remember the date? 3rd of June, right? On the 3rd of June, Google announces, good news everyone, search generative AI performance reports in Search Console. Finally, we are getting data about who is seeing and clicking our website content in AI search results, right? Sort of. Yes, we're getting this new section in Search Console which breaks out your visibility in generative AI for search results and in Google Discover. But if you're looking at this Search Console report and thinking that looks kind of empty, you're right. It's because normally Search Console reports report on total impressions, that's the number of times your link is seen on Google, and clicks, and average position. Well, we don't get clicks or average position, we just get impressions, at least for now. So Google is complying with the requirement partially for now. Now, if you want my take on why they're not showing clicks, which they absolutely could do, it would be really simple to do. It's because they know the number of clicks that are coming from AI overviews is absolutely minuscule compared to the number of impressions. i.e., your website, your content might be seen loads of times in AI overviews and AI mode, but you're getting hardly any traffic from those impressions. So sharing click data at this point would only make publishers more angry about AI overviews. And I think that's why Google has rolled out more improvements to AI overviews, things like adding more links, showing these site previews, because they're hoping this will lead to slightly more traffic to people's websites, so when they do start reporting clicks inside Search Console, that gap doesn't look so bad. Now, the good news for website owners is that Google has to report back to the CMA every 6 months on how its changes are impacting results for publishers, which means we've probably got about 6 months for Google to demonstrate that these changes are actually resulting in more visibility and potentially more clicks in order to show the CMA that Google doesn't have to take more extreme measures. We're definitely going to get more data about our visibility in AI search over the next 6 months. But will traffic volumes return to the levels seen in the good old days? Obviously not. Because unless Google is going to withhold information from AI overviews and AI mode so that people have to click through to the website to get the information that they need, people aren't going to bother with that extra step. And even if Google did sort of cripple its own AI overviews and force people to go to websites to get that information instead, those people would just move over to ChatGPT, and you're definitely not going to get that traffic or that data from ChatGPT. So the reality is that whatever happens with the CMA and Search Console and Google and regulation, that old organic traffic level is not coming back. That's the reality that marketers are faced with today. But let me give an example of why this isn't all bad news. We've got a global client in the financial education space. This is the sort of business that is absolutely hammered by Google AI overviews because financial information and training is exactly the sort of thing that Google likes to show in AI overviews rather than forcing people to click through to a website. Now, our client has been impacted by this. Everyone in their industry has been. In fact, their monthly year-on-year traffic impact is between 9% and 28%, meaning each month they've lost between 9% and 28% of their organic traffic compared to the previous year. But because we've increased their visibility on traditional search and we're getting them recommended more in AI overviews and AI mode, their drop is nothing compared to competitors. Their direct competitors are dropping between 44 and 61% of their organic traffic year on year. So our client is being impacted, but far less than their competitors because our client is being seen more often in these new AI results. Okay, so they're losing less than their competitors, but how's that good news? Well, they've just had their best ever month from organic traffic revenue. They're making more from their organic traffic than they've ever made before. Well, how can this be if their traffic is down? How can their revenue be up? Because the quality of that traffic is so much higher. The top of funnel research and the conversations and the learning about their material, their courses, their training, this is still happening. It's just happening in the AI tools. It's happening on ChatGPT. It's happening in AI mode and in AI overviews. That means that when somebody does click through to their website, that person is much more likely to make a purchase, and that purchase is likely to be larger. In fact, average order value from search traffic is up over 13% year on year. So this traffic, when it comes through, is spending more than ever. Their brand is being mentioned 240% more in AI answers than it was 6 months ago. Their content is showing up in AI overviews 107% more than 6 years ago in the US and 314% more in the UK. So they're being seen and they're being recommended more than ever. And that's the thing people struggle to get a grip on. Fewer visitors from Google might be landing on their site, but the people that arrive have already done all of that research. They've already learned about this business because they're being featured more in those AI conversations. So when they do land on that website, they're buying more. We've moved the product research and learning phase from happening on their website to happening in the AI tools. And this is the switch that marketers need to make. We need to break this association from needing tons of organic traffic in order to benefit from search. We can benefit from search and make more sales from search than ever before, even if we get less traffic on our actual websites. That feels super counterintuitive, but we're demonstrating it every month with our clients. We've published other videos on our channel about exactly how to do that, how to improve your visibility in traditional search and AI search, so I'm not going to go into that now. But suffice to say that Google and other AI search platforms are more important than ever. There is more money being spent and therefore made through search than ever. So having an SEO and AI search optimization plan inside your digital marketing strategy is absolutely vital. If you want the full playbook for increasing your brand's visibility in AI, then check out this video. And if you want help from the team at Exposure Ninja to improve your visibility in AI search and traditional search and turn more of the traffic landing on your website into leads and sales, then don't forget to request our free digital marketing review at exposureninja.com/review. Until next time, see you soon.